Okay, so welcome back to our video lecture about normalization. So this is the part 3 of our lesson. This time I will be explaining in how are we going to apply the functional dependencies in the process of normalization. Now just to recap, what is normalization? Wait lang Okay. So normalization is a formal technique. Rather, to be specific, it's a database design technique for analyzing relations based on the primary key or candidate keys and functional dependencies. So yan, yung pinaka-basis for this technique is our knowledge of functional dependencies. So you cannot perform functional normalization if you don't know how to identify functional dependencies. So normalization involves a series of rules, can be used to test individual relations. Yan nga, we will be applying rules for each table, whether it has achieved normalization, so that a database can be normalized to any degree. And then when a requirement is not met, let's say for example, yung isang table hindi nag-violate siya sa isang rule, the relation has violated the requirement, it must be decomposed. So yun nga, yun ang nangyari sa pinaka first example, di ba? Yung sa pinaka first natin na table na divide siya into two tables. So that yun yung ibig sabihin nito, decomposed, Pag yung isang table hindi niya na-meet yung requirement sa rule, so yung gagawin is i-decompose yung table, bali i-divide siya into, let's say, 2 or more tables, so that those yung individual na mga tables na yun nga nahati will meet the requirements of the normalization. Anyway, it may seem so blurred, itong bullet na to, but anyway, we'll just proceed na lang with the next slide. Makikita nyo to, I'll be demonstrating this one in the next few examples para mag-guess nyo. Okay, so we have here na-mention ko doon in the first part, the normal forms. So itong mga normal forms, ito yung mga rules. Normal forms, ito yung mga rules na gagamitin natin, that we will use in testing our tables, So yun nga, as mentioned here, 3 normal forms were initially proposed, The first 3 are the following: first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. So ito yung abbreviation niya, shortcut, 1NF for first normal form, 2NF for second normal form, and then 3NF for third normal form. Okay, so subsequently these individuals are boys and EF code introduce a much stronger definition of the third normal form. Yung tawag niya ito is BCNF, or this is what we call the 3.5 na NF. Okay, kasi ano siya, it's a stronger definition of the third normal form. Okay, and then higher normal forms that could go beyond this BCNF were introduced later, fourth normal form and fifth normal form. However, itong fourth normal form tsaka yung fifth normal form, these are rare. So bihira lang to siya occur. So that is why for this video, I'll be only explaining these 3, yung first normal form, second normal form, and tsaka yung third normal form. Okay, these are itong BCNF tsaka yung dalawa na to, yung 4NF and 5NF. These are advanced topics. So if you want to explore further these advanced topics, you just Google it or search it in the YouTube resources. Okay? But this is what, ito yung importante. At least yung table mo should achieve this na ma-pass niya yung yung third normal form, no? Para mawala talaga yung mga data redundancies and update anomalies, no? Okay, so this is the visual diagram, no, the process of normalization. So from our data source, no, sa yung we will be able to extract the unnormalized form, no. So yung nangyayari is from the data source we transfer the attributes into table format. Then after that, yung unnormalized form, we remove the repeating groups in order to achieve first normal form. Then sa first normal form, we remove the partial dependencies of the first normal form para ma-achieve natin yung second normal form. Okay, and then last, we remove the transitive dependencies sa first normal form na table para ma-achieve natin to third normal form na table. Okay? So yun, this is the sequence set. Ito yung sinasabi ko in the first video, no, the series of tests, no? From an normalized form, we go down to the third normal form, no? And as we go through this each test, yung natin, yung table natin will be decomposed. Mag-break down siya, mag-divide pa siya further into. So expected na from one table, pagdating dito sa third normal form, dadami na siya. Okay? Perhaps from one table, magiging 4 tables na dito sa third normal form. Yeah, that could happen. No? Anyway, we'll start with the first unnormalized form. So, pag sinabing unnormalized form, it's a table that contains one or more repeating groups. So, for example, no, we have here a collection of basically a form to, no? So, ito yung sinasabi sa data source na forms, no? So, let's say if you are the database or you are the systems analyst, or perhaps ikaw yung mismo yung gumawa ng nito, ikaw as the database designer yung nag-take initiative to collect examples, no, of forms, no? So yung gagawin mo is after collecting the forms, you're going to convert this one into a table. So ito na yung equivalent niya, no, right after converting this, or right after transferring the attributes of this form tsaka yung values niya, kinonvert mo na siya into a table. Diba? So itong first row pa lang, so John K CR76, ito yan. This is ito yan. Ito na form na to. Itong pinaka first na form na nakita nyo. This is the first row. Diba? So ito yung CR56, this is for the second. Okay? Yung CR let's assume lang, no. Well, this is just an assumption lang. No? CR itong client number CR 57 pala. CR56 ito 'yon. So I don't know what's with the third and fourth forms, but yeah, based on the reference na ginamit ko, so ito yung niya. Okay? So this is the client rental unnormalized table. And as you notice, there are some cells na may daw lang values. Kasi for example, itong property number. Dalawa yung values niya, PG4, PG16. Tapos yung sa client number na to, si Allen Stewart, tatlo yung values niya for property number. Diba? So, in the rules of database, diba? Impossible, in the relational database, imposible itong ma-achieve, no? Sa relational database, ha, take note. In some other database types, posible ito, but in the relational database, you cannot have two or more values in certain certain attribute. So ito yung sinasabi na repeating groups, no? Ito yung mga repeating groups. Okay? Wala. Ay, saan yun? Wala. Anyway, let's just proceed na lang with the next slide. First normal form. So, when we say first normal form, this is a relation or table in which the intersection of each row and column contains one and only one value. So, to transform, we just proceed na lang with the next para mag-gets. Anyway, if this is not clear to you, this will be clear later in our example, no? So, ano yung unnormalized form, tsaka yung ano yung first normal form. Anyway, so yun nga, how do we convert or how do we transform a table na unnormalized to first normal form? Okay? So, in order to do that, we identify and remove the repeating groups within the table. Yun lang. We identify, we identify, nangyari. We identify and remove the, sadali lang, I have a technical problem. Ayun, So we have identify and remove the repeating groups within the table. So, going back to the example kanina, so ito yung mga repeating groups natin. Kasi, as I mentioned a while ago, no, these attributes contains two or more values. So, yung p-address, dalawang values. Tatlo nga dito, no, sa kay Alice Stewart, friend start. Yeah. Now, it's also important to take note to identify the primary key attribute for this unnormalized na table. So, in this case, yung primary key natin is the client number. Okay? Pwede rin naman client name, but usually when yung primary key is usually yung number or yung ID. So, that's why ito yung pinili na primary key, client number. Okay? Now, yun. To convert this one, we need to remove the kuno. We identify and remove the repeating groups within the table. So, yung mangyayari nito, meron pa palang explanation dito. No? So, there are two common approaches, no, to remove the repeating groups. First is to replace the repeating data along with a copy of the original key attributes in a separate relation. Then the other approach is to enter the appropriate data in the empty columns of rows containing the repeating data. So, in other words, we just fill in the blanks by duplicating the non-repeating data where required. So, let me explain the first approach, no, in removing the repeating groups. No? So, this is the first approach. So, take note, we place the repeating data in a separate relation, okay, along with a copy of the original key attribute. No? So, that is why ito, okay, ito yung original repeating groups na galing sa table na to. Tinanggal sila, ni-remove sila, and they are transferred into a separate table. Along with the copy, na-mention na dito, along with the copy of the original key attribute. So, basically, ito, since this is the key, primary key natin, we also include this one. Okay? So, that is why, this is the repeating group that was removed from here, transferred here to another table, and then we copy the primary key also here. So, yan. That's how we this is for the first approach. Okay? So, as you notice, both of these, no, after performing this step, the first approach, you notice na both of these tables, naka 1F na siya. Diba? Kasi, as you notice, each row, no, each record, isang value na lang. Diba? Isang value na lang for each row. Same with here sa property rental owner na table. Each row, isang value na lang. No? Okay? So, next, again, recap natin. No? This is how we do it for the first approach. Sa second approach, we fill in the blanks. Okay? By duplicating the non-repeating data. So, ang pinagkaiba ng second approach is we just retain, no? We just retain the original table, but yung mangyayari is we just yung non-repeating, ba't nawala yung name? This is the non-repeating. Okay? Na non-repeating. Okay? Sorry. Yung client number tsaka yung client name, ito lang yung non-repeating, di ba? We just recap, no? Ito lang yung attributes na iisa lang yung value niya, non-repeating. So that is why we will duplicate yung values nila. So, kaya yung nangyari, nag-ano siya. See? Repeat. Ito, sorry. Mali. Bakit? Sorry. Bakit ito yung pinili ko? I'll just delete na lang to. Okay, so ito yung non-repeating group. Dinuplicate na yung value. Okay? Dinuplicate yung value. Okay? Duplicate. And then, yun. This one here is considered as ano na siya? Separate columns, separate rows dito siya. After applying the duplication of the non-repeating groups. Okay? This is considered a separate kana. Okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows in which each value sa mga attributes, single value na lang siya. Wala nang repeating. So therefore, we have achieved this one. Okay? Intersection of each row and column contains one and only one value. Okay? One and only one value. One value. Yeah. Therefore, this is already in 1F. So we have achieved the transformation from unnormalized to first normal form using the second approach. Okay? So, as you notice, magkaiba yung resulta sa first approach. Yung first approach, naging dalawa yung table niya, no? Whereas ito, retain pa rin yung table but nag-introduce lang tayo ng duplication, no? So yan. Now you could try, you could just choose either one of these. Pwedeng first approach, pwedeng second approach, no? Kung first approach yung gagamitin, no? So this time you're going to test are you going to, yeah, tama, itetest mo yung dalawang table na to. Yung client na to, if pwede, if this is already uh, in second normal form, tsaka third normal form. Also, with this table, itetest mo rin if naka 2NF na ba to or 3NF. So, yung mangyayari is you're gonna have to test for more, no? Sa client, test mo kung is 2NF na ba siya or 3NF na ba siya. Sa itong table na to, i-test mo kung 2NF na ba siya or 3NF. Ayan. Anyway, whether first approach or second approach yung gagamitin mo, it will have the same result pa rin naman, regardless. No? Parehas lang yung result nyo. So, no matter what ano yung pipiliin mo, first approach ba or second approach, parehas lang yan. Okay? But, parehas lang yung result na maabot mo after 3NF. Okay? So, anyway, will be up, ito yung gagamitin ko for the rest of the examples, no? Sa pag-transform nito to 2NF, I'll be using na lang itong I'll be using this second approach. But again, pwedeng exercise na lang nyo. You try it yourself, no? Kung gagamitin nyo yung first approach. But for this example, I'll be using this single table. I will test if this table na 1NF is pwede na ba siya for second normal form, no? So again, let's proceed na. So sa second normal form, no? Relation that is in first normal form, no? So basically, you could say that your table or relation is in second normal form if naka first normal form na siya, tsaka every non-primary key attribute is fully functionally dependent on the primary key. Okay? So this is how you're going to test if yung table mo is na-achieve na niya itong second normal form. That is kung first normal form siya, tsaka yung every non-primary key attribute is fully functionally dependent on the primary key. Okay? If, however though, meron pa palang second bullet. Sorry. So, second normal form applies to relations or tables with composite keys. No? So, applicable lang tong second normal form if yung table mo merong primary key, okay, na 2 or more yung attributes niya. Okay? So again, I think we've already discussed this in the first lesson. A composite key is basically an attribute that's composed of 2 or more attributes. So basically, yung primary, yung second normal form, applicable lang siya kung yung primary key mo is composed of 2 or more combined attributes. So, a relation with a single attribute, primary key, is automatically in at least 2NF na. So, automatic na, pag single attribute lang yung primary key mo, automatic na yan 2NF. So, therefore, ulitin ko lang pag single attribute yung primary key mo, 2NF na yan. So, therefore, if we're going to go back to the first approach, ito, check na siya. 2NF na to. Naka 2NF na to siya. Okay? However, ito, you just have to figure out muna na before you proceed with 2NF, you figure out if meron ba tong composite key. Kasi if isa lang yung primary key nito, so automatic na siya, 2NF. But if if this property rental owner has a composite key, so you have to test this if 2NF na ba siya. So okay, so let's go back to our definition. No? So yeah, this is how we're going to uh, know if yung table mo that has a composite key, if ano na siya, if naka second normal form na siya. So to convert a first normal form to second normal form, ita-transform mo siya, no? So the normalization involves the removal of partial dependencies. So yun, this is the key to transforming into to an F. You remove the partial dependencies. So if a partial dependency exists, we remove the partial dependent attributes. Okay? Attribute or attributes. Okay? So posibleng we have two or more partially dependent attributes, no? From the relation by placing them in a new relation, new table, no? Along with a copy of their determinant. So take note of this. Anyway, we have an example. So this is in the client rental natin yung kanina, no, sa second approach. Ito yung sa second approach. So ito yung composite key niya. This is the primary key, which is basically a composite key. Kasi yung primary key niya is has two or more attributes, no? It's composed of client number and property number. Now, if we're going to shortcut ko na lang to. Ito yung functional dependencies niya. So we have here client number and property number determines the rent start and rent finish. This is the primary key, basically the primary key, no? However, we have here also a partial dependency sa sa client name. Same also with this one here, property number. Since property number functionally determines the property address, the rent, the owner number, and the owner name. So therefore, ito silang lahat. These are the partial dependencies. No? Diba? Remember, no? Recall that a partial dependency is a condition where pag may tinanggal tayo dito at tapos yung dependency still holds, so therefore we have a partial dependency. So in this case ito yung yung primary key, diba? And then what happens was sa itong client number na to, it just remove the property number, no? So since client number functionally determines the client name, so yeah. Anyway, medyo I hope that this doesn't confuse you, no? Anyway, kung you could just review the previous definition sa partial dependency, just para ma-check nyo, no, why partial dependency to itong dalawa na to. Okay, so anyways, since we have figured out the partial dependencies, the client name, the property address, rent, owner number, owner name, yung gagawin is we're going to remove. Okay, we remove there and place them in the relation along with a copy of their determinant. So basically yung mangyayari, ito, okay, we will create a new table where ito yung attributes niya. Tapos we will create another table na ito yung mga attributes niya. So therefore, ito yung answer niya. Okay? After converting the first normal form to second normal form, na decompose na, nahati na yung original natin na table, ito, into 3 tables. So, as you notice, this is the original table. Nawala na sa kanya yung client name, nawala na sa kanya yung property address, nawala na sa kanya yung rent, yung owner number, tsaka yung owner name, kasi nalipat na siya sa another table. Okay? So, all of these are already in 2NF na, okay? Kasi, this is the, this is considered already 2NF kasi ito yung primary key. This is the primary key and it functionally determines the rent start and also functionally determines the rent finish. Removing this, either one of this makes the dependency not existing anymore. So yeah, correct. And also since ito lang man yung single lang man yung primary key natin, hindi siya composite, so automatic 2NF na to. Same also with property owner, isa lang yung primary key, unlike dito dalawa, so automatic 2NF na to siya. So yeah, therefore we have achieved the transformation from of our original table na transform natin siya to second normal form. Lahat ng tables niya are already in second normal form. Okay, so next, third normal form. So, we're going to say, how can we know that table is in third normal form? No? Relation or table, no, that is in first normal form. No? So, pag sinabing third normal form, yung table naka first and normal form siya. Okay? Di pwedeng may skip, no? Di pwedeng second normal form na siya tapos hindi siya first normal form. So it has to have these two already. Na-achieve na niya to. First and second normal form siya, yung table na yon. And no non-primary key attribute is transitively dependent on the primary key. Anyway, just to para magets nyo, no, same pa rin sa sa kanina. This time yung i-remove natin is yung transitive dependency. Okay, unlike sa 2NF, partial dependency yung i-remove dito. Okay, so if a transitive dependency exists, remove the transitive dependent attribute. Okay, we remove by placing the attribute in a new relation along with the copy of the editor. So parehas lang sa 2NF, but instead of partial dependent attribute, this time transitively dependent attribute na naman yung okay. So going back to our previous table, original na naka 2NF naman tayo, no. So these are already 3NFs kasi again, ito yung mga primary key niya. Okay? So, going back sa no non-primary key, walang hindi primary key nga transitively dependent sa primary key. So, if you check this one, is tong client name transitively dependent ba sa client number? So, hindi. Ito rent start, transitively dependent ba to siya sa client number, property number? Hindi. Itong rent finish, transitively dependent ba siya sa client? So, hindi. No? So, this is already However, in this property owner, hindi pa siya naka-TNF. Kasi ito yung property, itong property number to, ito yung primary key. Okay? Take note, ito yung encirclean ko, this is the primary key. Tapos, we have here the following. um, non i-underline ko na lang para hindi kayo malito. Hindi siya 3NF itong table na to, property owner. It's because of this attribute, owner name. This is the transitive transitively dependent na attribute. Okay? Ito. Itong transitively dependent attribute, ito yon. Okay? Kasi it's because of this one. Okay? Kung i-ano natin to sa definition, this is the B, this is the C, and this one is the A. A is our primary key. Di ba? According here, walang non-primary key na transitively dependent sa primary key. But in this case, etong owner name, this is itong owner name na attribute, this is a non-primary key. Primary key. And also, not only it is a non-primary key, hindi siya primary key, it is transitively dependent sa primary key, no, through B as the bridge, no? So since it has violated the third normal form, no, so yeah, we have to remove this transitively dependent attribute, and we have to transfer it into a new table along with the copy of its determinant, yung owner number. So yeah, without further explanation, I think it's already, yeah, the owner number functionally depends on the owner name. Just check na lang, pwede man yung ma-check, no, in your own, no, if owner number functionally determines the owner name, no. Same also with the property number, if it functionally determines the property address, the rent, the owner number, the owner name. But anyway, ito yung A. Okay? Ito yung B. Okay? Highlight ko lang ha yung ano. So ito yung B, ito yung C. So that is why itong owner name is functionally dependent on property number via owner number. That is why ano siya. Ito yung transitively dependent na ano natin, na attribute. So yun, after applying the wait lang balik tayo dito sa ano. So yun nga, i-place natin yung attribute sa new relation along with the copy of the determinant. So yung mangyayari, yung entire itong dalawa na to, yung owner number tsaka yung owner name, we will extract this here into a separate table. Tapos yung owner name, wala na to, burado na to siya sa mabubura to. Ito, yung owner number, we will have a copy kasi ito yung determinant ni owner name. Okay? So that's why this is the result. Okay? So as you notice, the owner name no longer exists here kasi na-transfer na siya. Tapos since this owner number is the determinant of the owner name, so kaya we just simply copy this one here from here to. So that's why this is the result. Everything now is already in third normal form, and yeah, therefore we have minimized the redundancies, the data redundancies, and we also have eliminate the possible update anomalies, of this database. So yun, all thanks to the normalization. Yeah, we have achieved the set, no? Yung sinabi ko na set of sensya na sa sa suitable relations, di ba? Di ba yan yung purpose ni normalization, to identify the set of suitable relations. So ito yung pinaka final na. These are the tables that we need, no, for our database. And just to to show you how everything was broken down, no, from the first normal form. Ito yung original na table. After applying the second normal form, na-divide siya into 3: client, rental, tsaka property number. And then, after applying the third normal form na rule, this table here was divided na into, or decomposed into 2 tables. So, kaya naging 4 na yung tables natin overall for the database. And that's it. That's all for about normalization. So I hope that you learned something new in this video lecture, and thank you for bearing with me for a couple of hours of discussion. So if you have any questions, just chat me, or anyway, we'll have some quizzes just to test your knowledge if marunong nga ba kayo mag-apply ng normalization. So thank you for watching this very lengthy and deep discussion of the normalization topic. So lesson, no? So thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye. Okay.